So that's one big shift that's starting to happen in the schools that we're working in. And the other piece, the second non-negotiable principle is supporting bilingualism in the education of emergent bilinguals. And so here the idea is that the home language practices of emergent bilinguals are recognized as a resource and leveraged in all programs, whether ESL or bilingual programs. The entire linguistic repertoire of emergent bilinguals is to be used flexibly and strategically in instruction in order to engage the children cognitively, emotionally, and creatively. And so this is a big piece that our teachers are really curious about. How do I use the students' home languages when I don't speak them, or when it's English time, or it's Spanish time, or Chinese time? How do I organize my instruction to really leverage and use the home language as a resource in a way that's going to be most effective for my instruction? And so I think we need to think about bilingualism again and to understand bilinguals. And the research now is really focused on how do bilinguals use their languages, not so much how should they, but really looking at what bilinguals actually do. And in the 20th century, we talked a lot about additive and subtractive bilingualism, and we had the model of the bicycle, right? The balanced bilingual, where the two wheels of a bicycle represented bilingualism, where the two wheels work together equally to carry a rider, right? Where the wheels move in tandem, they're exactly alike, and that our languages do the same work and are developed at the same level, right? That we read and write and listen and speak and work in our two languages in exactly the same way in every context. But those of us who are bilingual know that that's not really the way that it works, right? The L1 was always isolated and separate from the L2, right? These two sort of walls that never ever intersect and connect. And I think about that as I'm working on my cell phone, and it just drives me absolutely nuts if I want to write something in Spanish, and all of a sudden the autocorrect goes on, right? And then I have to press the little globe button, and I have to switch to Spanish, right? You know, where the languages are kept totally separate. And as bilinguals, we know that's not the case. Our languages, we have one linguistic repertoire that we pull from, and our phones haven't been sophisticated enough, haven't been developed to be able to just pull from any language. And this is really this fractional view or monoglossic view of bilingualism that sees bilinguals basically as two monolinguals in one body, right? So really looking at bilingualism from the lens of a monolingual, that you've got, you know, English-speaking Anne and Greek-speaking Anne, and the two never shall meet, right? Just two very separate things. But the truth is that we're not just the sum of two monolinguals. As Grosjean says, the bilingual is an integrated whole who can't easily be decomposed into two separate parts. He has a unique and specific linguistic configuration. We've got home language and English and additional languages all together. And so when we think about the changing conceptions of language in the 21st century, we've moved from, you all probably remember, you know, come in sup idea where the languages are in sort of two separate balloons in our brain, right? And there was this worry that if you blew up one balloon too much, you know, in our tiny little brain, it would, you know, not fit. Ofelia Garcia talks about dynamic bilingualism. It's not dual, it's not linear, it's not fractional. The L1 is not separate from the L2, and I think a fifth grade student said it best when he said, "Even though Spanish runs through my heart, English rules my veins."